All right. Let's go over the Monday review for today. There are only a few questions, 7, because I split up the review into 4 parts. Today's part's kind of short. Number 1, the following variables most likely to be quantitative, and that's the ones that you can do operations on, and that would be your flash drive, capacity. The pharmaceutical company conducts an experiment which the subject takes 100 milligrams of a substance orally. So it says, what kind of variable is this? Since we're measuring it, it's going to be quantitative. At a certain school, 80 of the 130 boys and 80 of the 110 girls signed up for a senior trip. Is there an association between going to the trip and gender? Well, I see that I have the same number of boys and girls going, but I don't have the same number coming from that group. So it looks like there's more girls that went. So, yes, there's an association because a lower percentage of boys signed up. Now, if the numbers were different, then you would look at the ratios. If the ratios are the same, then you would say, no, there's not an association because they have the same percentage. Okay, relative frequency. So on this one, you're just finding the percentages of them. So the relative frequency accepting qualified students is going to be 941 divided by 1845. So 941 divided by 1845. And I've got 51.0027. I just look at the decimal and make it a percentage. If you're not comfortable with that, you can just multiply by 100 at the end and you get your percentage. So for instance, the weight listed were 272, so you take 272 divided by 1845 times 100, and I have 14.7425. So there's your percentage already out there for you. And 7 stays. Okay, and then the third one, 632 divided by 1845. I have 34.25, so the 2 rounds up to 3. Okay, and a statement that describes the relative frequencies is going to be the one with all the percentages we just found. Okay, on this one, you have to read the way the question is asked. The first part is always the denominator. It says what percent of the class, so that when it says of the class, they're talking about the total, the grand total is 104. What percentage of 104 is male? So look at the male subtotal, and so that's 47 divided by 104. I have 45.2. It was 45.19, but I rounded it to 45.2. It says what percentage of the class, so we're still talking about dividing by 104, considers himself to be conservative. So what is the conservative subtotal? 20. So 20 divided by 104, I have 19.2. Okay, what percent of the males in the class consider themselves to be conservative? So what percent of the males? So now my denominator changes to the subtotal of the males is 47. How many of these 47 consider themselves to be conservative? 8. So 8 divided by 47, 17.0. Okay, what percent of all students in the class? So now I'm going to divide by 104. Are males who consider themselves to be conservative. So this is like a cross section. So where the males, this row, and the conservatives. So that's 8 divided by 104. So I have 7.69, which rounds to 7.7. What percent of the conservatives? Now my denominator is the subtotal of the conservatives, which is 20, are male. So now it's 8 divided by 20. I got 0.4, which is 40%. Is there another one? No. We're going to go on to next. On here we have summary statistics. One of the questions that I can ask you is if it's skewed and you look at the mean and the median, these are relatively close. But here on the statements, you notice between the minimum and Q1, they're both 0. So that means nothing happened in the first quarter. What does that mean? Nothing happened. Well, they're talking about infant deaths. So this means that there were no infant deaths in the first quarter. So here. And then last but not least, what is the reason one might choose a histogram over a box plot when you display distribution of the data? So remember, your box plot shows where the median is, it shows where the quartiles is, but it doesn't really give you a good feel of the shape. So the histogram will show you the shape. That's it. Have a good rest of your day.